Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, which is Explore Yourself, Banking and General Knowledge, etc. Today I am going to describe my short story, Why Happiness is a Choice, Not a Destination. Most people spend their lives believing that happiness is waiting somewhere in the future. Some think they will finally become happy after earning enough money, buying a beautiful house, getting married, becoming successful, or achieving social recognition. From childhood itself, society quietly teaches people that happiness is connected to achievement. As a result, life slowly becomes a never ending race where people constantly chase one goal after another, hoping that one day they will finally feel complete. But reality often turns out very differently. Many successful people remain stressed, lonely, anxious, and emotionally exhausted despite possessing wealth, luxury, and status. On the other hand, some ordinary people with simple lives smile genuinely and live peacefully even without extraordinary success. This creates a powerful question. If happiness truly depends on external success, then why are so many successful people unhappy? The answer is simple yet deeply meaningful. Happiness is not a destination that we reach someday. Happiness is a choice that we make every day through our thoughts, attitudes, priorities, relationships, and perspective toward life. This is the story of a man who spent years searching for happiness in the outside world, only to discover that the peace he was chasing had always existed within himself. Beginning of the chase, Arindam was born in a small middle class family in a quiet town where life moved slowly and simply. His father worked in a modest government office and earned just enough to support the family, while his mother managed the household with patience and sacrifice. Their life was ordinary. There were no luxuries, expensive vacations, or grand celebrations. Yet, despite financial limitations, his mother often smiled while doing daily chores, talked cheerfully with neighbors, and found joy in small things like evening tea, family conversations, and festivals. As a child, Arindam never understood how his mother could remain happy despite having so little. He noticed how wealthy people were respected everywhere. Expensive cars attracted attentions. Successful businessmen were praised by relatives. Society admired those who possessed money and status. Gradually, belief entered his mind that happiness belonged only to successful and wealthy people. Whenever his family faced financial difficulties, Ordinum silently promised himself that one day he would become rich enough to escape all struggles. He believed that money would solve every problem and guarantee happiness forever. From a young age, he started associating happiness with achievement and material success. This belief slowly shaped his entire life, sacrificing the present for the future. As Arindam grew older, he became extremely focused on studies and career goals. While other children enjoyed games, friendships, and carefree moments, he spent long hours studying because he believed success was the only path toward happiness. Teachers praised his discipline, and his parents proudly supported his ambitions. After completing school, he moved to Kolkata for higher studies. The city fascinated him. Tall buildings, corporate offices, expensive restaurants, luxury cars, and fashionable lifestyle surrounded him everywhere. For the first time, he truly understood the gap between ordinary living and wealth. Many of his classmates came from affluent families. They wore branded clothes, used costly gadgets, and traveled abroad during holidays. Arindam constantly compared himself with them and felt inadequate. Instead of enjoying youth, friendship, and learning experiences, he became obsessed with proving himself. He studied relentlessly, worked harder than everyone around him, and sacrificed sleep hobbies, relationships, and emotional peace for the sake of future success. In his mind, all sacrifices would become meaningful once he finally reached that destination called happiness. Years later, he secured a high paying corporate job. For a brief period, he felt excited and proud. He bought expensive clothes, upgraded his lifestyle, and enjoyed the attention that success brought. But surprisingly, the happiness did not last long. Soon he started believing he needed something more: a bigger salary, a higher position, a better apartment, a luxury car, more recognitions. The cycle continued endlessly. Every achievement gave temporary satisfactions, but the emptiness inside always returned. Success without peace. By the age of 35, Arindam had achieved nearly everything he once dreamed about. He owned a luxurious apartment, drove an expensive car, traveled frequently for work, and held an important positions in a respected company. From the outside, his life looked perfect. People admired him, relatives praised him, social media showed smiling photographs and successful moments, but internally he felt emotionally exhausted. He woke up every morning with stress and anxiety. He constantly worried about deadlines, targets, competitions, and career growth. Even during vacations, he could not relax because his mind remained occupied with work. He had slowly become disconnected from family and old friends. Conversations with his parents became shorter and less frequent. He attended family functions rarely because he was always busy. One evening, while returning from office in heavy traffic, his car stopped near a roadside tea stall. There he noticed a group of workers laughing loudly while sharing tea and simple snacks after a long day of labor. Their clothes were worn out and their lives were clearly difficult, yet their laughter looked genuine. Arindam watched them silently from inside his expensive car. For the first time, a strange thought disturbed him. How can they look happier than me? That question remained in his mind for days. Life changes suddenly. One rainy night, while preparing an important corporate presentation, Arindam received a phone call from his hometown. His father had suffered a serious heart attack and was admitted to the hospital. Everything changed instantly. He rushed to the hospital and saw his mother sitting silently outside the ICU with tired eyes filled with fear and helplessness. Looking at her, he suddenly realized how emotionally absent he had become from his own family's life. For years, he had been physically present only occasionally, while mentally remaining trapped inside work pressure and ambitions. Fortunately, his father survived after treatment. During recovery, one afternoon, his father looked at him quietly and asked a simple question: Are you truly happy, son? Arindam tried to answer but failed. For the first time in many years, he honestly examined his own life. He had spent decades chasing success, believing happiness waited somewhere ahead. Yet, despite achieving almost every major goal, he felt restless, emotionally tired, and strangely empty. That night, while sitting alone in the hospital corridor, he realized something painful. He had spent his entire life preparing to live someday, but someday never arrived. Mm. Meeting the old man. After his father recovered, Arindam took a temporary break from work to clear his mind. One evening, while walking through a peaceful park, he noticed an elderly man feeding birds quietly. The old man looked calm, peaceful, and completely relaxed. Something about his presence attracted Arindam. After a brief conversation, the old man asked gently, You look troubled. What is bothering you? Arindam replied honestly, I have achieved many things in life, but I still don't feel happy. The old man smiled knowingly and said, that is because you are searching for happiness in the future. Arindam looked confused. The old man continued, most people believe happiness is a destination. They think I will be happy when I become successful, when I buy a house, when I earn more money, when life becomes perfect. But happiness is not a place you arrive at. It is the way you live every day. Those words deeply affected Anindam. The old man explained further that life will never become permanently perfect. There will always be problems, uncertainties, responsibilities, failures, and challenges. If someone waits for ideal circumstances before choosing happiness, they may spend their entire life waiting. Happiness, the old man said softly, is a daily choice. You choose gratitude or complaint. You choose peace or comparison. You choose to enjoy the present or postpone living until the future. Before leaving, he added one final sentence. The happiest people are not those who have the most, they are those who appreciate what they already have. Discovering the beauty of small moments. After returning home, Arindam slowly started changing his lifestyle and mindset. Earlier, he rushed through every day without noticing life around him. Now he began slowing down intentionally. He started eating meals peacefully without constantly checking emails or social media. He resumed regular conversations with his parents and listened carefully to their stories. He began talking evening walks simply to enjoy nature rather than thinking endlessly about work. At first, these changes felt unusual because he had spent years believing productivity mattered more than peace. But gradually he noticed something remarkable. Simple moments started bringing genuine happiness. The smell of rain, a warm cup of tea, laughter during conversations, watching sunsets from the balcony, listening to old songs, sharing meals with family. These ordinary experiences carried a kind of emotional peace that expensive achievements had never provided. Arindam slowly realized that happiness had always existed around him. He had simply been too distracted by future ambitions to notice it. The trap of comparison. One of the biggest reasons behind Arindam's unhappiness had always been comparison. Throughout his life, he constantly measured himself against others. Someone always seemed richer, more successful, more attractive, or more accomplished. Comparison had silently destroyed his ability to appreciate his own journey. At a school reunion, he met many old classmates. Some appeared extremely successful on the surface. However, during private conversations, he discovered that many were struggling internally. One wealthy businessman admitted he suffered from loneliness. Another classmate revealed severe anxiety issues. Someone else was facing family problems despite professional success. That evening, Arindam understood an important truth. External appearances does not reveal internal peace. People often hide pain behind smiling photographs, expensive lifestyles, and social recognitions. Success and happiness are not always connected. For years, he had wrongly assumed that achieving more would automatically create happiness. But now he realized that inner peace depends more on perspective than possessions. Healing relationships. As Arindam became emotionally more aware, he recognized how many relationships he had neglected while chasing success. He had missed birthdays, ignored calls, postponed visits, and emotionally disconnected from people who genuinely cared about him. He now started rebuilding those relationships slowly and sincerely. He visited his parents regularly. He spent time with childhood friends. He apologized to people he had unintentionally hurt through neglect. He learned to listen carefully instead of always remaining mentally distracted. To his surprise, meaningful relationships brought far deeper happiness than career achievements ever had. Genuine human connections created emotional warmth that no amount of money could replace. One evening during dinner, his mother smiled warmly and said, "You laugh more these days." That simple sentence touched him deeply because he realized how long he had lived without genuine joy. Happiness during difficult times. Just when life seemed more peaceful, another challenge arrived unexpectedly. Due to company restructuring, Arindam lost his prestigious position. Years earlier, such an event would have completely destroyed him emotionally because his entire identity depended on professional success. But now something had changed inside him. Of course, he felt worried about the future. Of course, uncertainty created stress. But deep within, he no longer believes happiness depended entirely on career status. Instead of collapsing emotionally, he remained balanced. He continued practicing gratitude. He continued spending time with loved ones. He continued enjoying small moments. He continued maintaining inner calm. During this difficult phase, he discovered one of life's greatest truths. Happiness does not mean the absence of problems. True happiness means maintaining emotional strength despite problems. Life will always remain uncertain. External situations constantly change. Success and failure come and go. But a peaceful mind can survive even during difficult periods if happiness is rooted internally instead of externally. Sharing the lesson. As years passed, Arindam started mentoring younger professionals entering corporate life. Many reminded him of his younger self, ambitious, stressed, impatient, and emotionally exhausted while chasing future success. One day, a young employee asked him, "Sir, what is the secret to becoming successful and happy?" Arindam smiled thoughtfully before answering. Work hard and pursue your goals, but never sacrifice your entire life while chasing success. Otherwise, one day you may achieve everything and still feel empty. The young man listened carefully. Arindam explained how people postpone happiness continuously. I will be happy after promotions. I will be happy after marriage. I will be happy after earning more money. I will be happy after retirement. But life keeps moving endlessly while happiness remains postponed. He advised the young man to enjoy ordinary moments, maintain relationships, care for mental peace, and appreciate the present instead of emotionally living only for the future. Understanding the real meaning of happiness. Over time, Arindam's understanding of happiness became much deeper. Earlier, he thought happiness was excitement created by achievements and material success. But now he understood that excitement and happiness are not the same. Excitement is temporary, real happiness is peaceful. It comes from emotional balance, gratitude, meaningful relationships, self awareness, and acceptance of life's imperfections. He realized that happiness is built through small daily choices, choosing gratitude instead of constant complaint, choosing kindness instead of anger, choosing presence instead of endless distraction, choosing contentment instead of unhealthy comparison, choosing peace instead of ego driven competition. These choices slowly shape the quality of life. People often search for happiness in extraordinary achievements while ignoring ordinary blessings already surrounding them. The story of Arindam reflects the reality of modern life where countless people spend years chasing future happiness while forgetting to live in the present. Society constantly encourages ambitions, achievements, competitions, and material success. While these things are not wrong, they cannot permanently satisfy the human heart by themselves. True happiness is not hidden inside wealth, luxury, fame, or perfect circumstances. Happiness is a mindset and a conscious daily choice. It is found in gratitude, meaningful relationships, emotional balance, kindness, self awareness, and the ability to appreciate ordinary moments. Life will never become completely free from difficulties, problems, failures, uncertainties, and disappointments are natural parts of human existence. But people who are learn to maintain inner peace despite life's imperfections discover a much deeper form of happiness. The greatest mistake many people make is postponing happiness until some future achievements. They spend years saying, I will be happy when. But real happiness begins only when we stop waiting for perfect conditions and start appreciating life as it exists today. Because in the end, happiness was never a distant destination, it was always a choice. Disclaimer: this story is entirely fictional and written for motivational, educational, and inspirational purposes. The characters, situations, and events are imaginary and intended to convey meaningful life lessons regarding happiness, emotional well being, personal growth, and human relationships. Readers may interpret the story differently depending on personal experiences and beliefs. This content does not replace professional psychological, emotional, or medical advice where necessary. Thank you very much for your patience. Request for like, subscribe, and share.